And selling your grant writing services does not have to be hard. In fact, here are some places where we've seen folks get clients: Chamber of Commerce events, grant training and workshops, conferences, coffee shops, birthday parties, online webinars, just having their title in their name, posting on LinkedIn, and mentioning it to family and friends. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more towards the end, so stay tuned. What does it take to start a freelance grant writing business? Well, becoming a freelance grant writer, you need 2 skills. 1, grant writing. 2, business acumen. You can learn both, and you don't need a grant writing degree or business degree. You don't even need 10,000 hours of experience. You don't even need a certification. Folks in the Academy like Acumen, Paulette, Christina, and Gabrielle all won their first clients in the program, and Christina and many others also won their first grants. What worked for them to go from 0 experience to getting funded and funding? Training. Of course, you do want to know how to write grants to be a freelance grant writer. However, you can also get clients while you learn how to write grants. It's one of the best ways as well. And one of the ways to get experience is to have a short internship or volunteer period so you can get some real world experience. And you can also negotiate with a nonprofit to pay for some grant training in exchange for your grant writing services in the first few months while you're learning how. For example, we actually have nonprofit organizations pay for folks to come inside the Freelance Grant Writer Academy, as we provide unlimited grant reviews and grant training. As we provide grant training and unlimited grant reviews in exchange for volunteering at their nonprofit for 3 months or writing maybe 2 grants. We do recommend that you have some sort of reciprocity agreement if you offer your grant writing services for free when you are starting out, like I'll only do it for this long, or pay for some of my training while I do it for free. Other types of grant writing training can be books, online courses, and so much more. But some of you may have grant writing experience, but you have no business experience. So I said you need to have grant writing experience and you need to have business acumen. And selling your grant writing services does not have to be hard. In fact, here are some places where we've seen folks get clients: Chamber of Commerce events, grant training and workshops, conferences, coffee shops, birthday parties, online webinars, just having their title in their name, posting on LinkedIn, and mentioning it to family and friends. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more towards the end, so stay tuned. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Holly Rustick, founder and CEO of the Freelance Grant Writer Academy and the Grant Professional Mentorship, and we help aspiring and seasoned grant writers replace their full-time income on flexible hours writing grants from home. Make sure you subscribe to get all of our videos. But getting your first client or 2 usually doesn't take much marketing, as everybody knows someone who needs a grant writer, especially in these days. Just mentioning what you do in conversation is like a magic trick. So be sure to make some business cards and carry them around. But you still need to understand business acumen, i.e. how to price, how to market, how to sell, how to invoice. This doesn't have to be hard as well. But this is not an innate skill, but it can be learned. Not understanding these basic business skills can hold you back from growing a business. This is because many grant writers aren't sure how to sell their services. Let's face it, pricing any kind of services versus a product can feel a little ambiguous. To understand what the real value is of your grant writing skills is important. And then you need to know how to put together your offers, how to run a sales call. None of this is difficult, but without a roadmap, it can feel overwhelming and take you longer than it needs to. Believe you me, that's where I started so many years ago, more than a decade ago, right? And I've done the work for you. So let's talk about it. Before we get into it, here are some things that you don't need. Freelance grant writing certifications. You do not need a freelance grant writing certification or a grant writing certification to write grants. If you are wondering if you need a grant writing certification to pursue grant writing and get clients, you don't need one. But some people are still interested in getting a grant writing certification due to external or internal reasons. And we've talked about these in other videos, but let me just summarize them again for you. External considerations for getting a grant writing certification is maybe a nonprofit might ask you during a discovery call if you have a grant writing certification. When a nonprofit prospect asks you this question, really they're asking how experienced you are. So if you do have a grant writing certification, then you can just simply say yes. However, if you don't have one, you can instead let them know that there is no industry requirement for having one because there's not. Instead, let them know if you've written X number of grants or secured X number of funding, That's an easier way to do it. And let's face it, even if you did have a grant writing and funding certification, and yes, that's a thing inside the Academy, wink, wink, or your grant professional certification, and we also offer education credits for that, a nonprofit lead isn't going to know how many hours of grant writing you have done, how long it took you to go through the course, or etc. They don't even know the difference between our internal certification and the GPC one. So even if you do have a grant writing certification, then you have to mention all the other cool things that you've done, whether that's your experience, getting training, all of that. And that's going to eliminate a lot of other questions that come up. So externally, when having a grant writing certification, what you're going to get is a nod of approval, a signature of experience. Literally, you can put the logo of your certification in your email signature. You can put the name of the certification on your webinar, website, LinkedIn profile, or even business card. And this lends to external affirmation of your skills. But once again, this is not required. Many people get a ton of clients and they've never had a certification. Here are some internal considerations for a grant writing certification. The process of getting a grant writing certification can help improve your skills potentially, knowledge, and confidence in writing grants. If you are looking to improve any of those, then you may consider going through a course, a workshop, or a program like the Freelance Grant Writer Academy to get your grant writing certification. This is the heart of it, right? But grant certification or not, it doesn't really showcase your grant writing abilities. To have long-standing credibility and a reputation and implement the learned skills, you need to practice writing grants. So yes, a grant writing certification can increase your resume and improve your skills, but actually going through the process of writing an entire grant template and getting feedback is important. So do you need one? No. However, a grant writing certification can help increase your skills, your knowledge, and your confidence, but you still need to actually write grants.